Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the osteomyelitis, and I'm just focusing on this hematogenous type of spread. And this is my first video lecture, so please support me. Press that thumbs up if you really like it and subscribe. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to talk about the basic here. And here's the basic. This is anatomy of the long bone, and I draw it with this fascial plate still open, and the epiphysis, diaphysis, and metaphyseal region. And this is the nutrient canal and the medullary cavity. This is a child kind of long bone because there's this fascial plate. And first of all, if you know that osteomyelitis consists of from three words, which is osteo, which is bone, myelum, it's marrow. So the itis is infection or inflammation. So you know that basically osteomyelitis is just infection of the bone and marrow. And here's the nutrient canal entering into the medullary cavity. It has branches to here, the ascending and the descending part, and as well as lots of small branches into the cortex, supplying the two-thirds of the inner cortex and also the marrow itself. Not only that, it also gives branches to the metaphyseal region until it because it's in a kid, so until it reaches the fascial plate, and then it's going to drain into the sinusoid system and the venous system here. So why I'm telling you this? Because this is important. Even though this is only the hematogenous spread, but you can always use this basic mechanism of how the pathophysiology and how it appears in a radiologically to any kind of other various type of disease, not only osteomyelitis. This is the basic that you really need to know. So if there's a bacteremia, there's the devils from tonsillitis, pharyngitis, and everything. It's just flowing in your bloodstream, but in your main bloodstream, there's lots of phagocytes, so it can survive. It multiplies, but it survives until it enters this nutrient canal and goes up to goes down to the branches from the nutrient canal. And here is the important hairpin vascularity that I'm mentioning. It kind of slow. It has slow, it turbulence because of the shape itself. And if you have to know, there's not lots of phagocytes, so no polyps there. And from the these branches is kind of an small artery, and then go draining to the sinusoid system that quite large. So there's a difference on the diameter, making this turbulence and slow pattern of flow there. That's why the devils, I mean the demons, loves there. They're going to just being together there with the other members, and then because there's no phagocyte, they can multiply, they can just produce more all the enzymes that they make to just destroy the bone. So first of all, here they accumulate in that region. Of course, we have our immune system came in like neutrophils. First of all, neutrophils there, and inflammation starts, and bacteremia, and then there is this high vascularity because two of our immune systems going there, producing or releasing more like white blood cells, something like that. And hence here they can multiply it in every region, and this is, you can see there's this demons and surrounded by all the white blood cells, and this is creating a meroedema, creating what you can see in x-ray as osteopenia, more lucency and indistinct margin of the fascial plate, where it used to be more like distinct. And then the bacteria, which is most often is Staph aureus, creating some enzymes, destructive enzymes that during the destruction of the ejection area. then here it's going to more lytic and destructive. So you can see it here in the X-ray. There is this more like subtle decrease opacity, or like more like lucency in this region, in the metaphyseal region. And then there's a lytic and a destructive pattern here. I'm going to talk about the periosteal newborn formation just quite a bit later. And here more like obvious one, and there's this decreased opacity here and indistinct margin with lytic and destruction on the metaphyseal region. Okay, and this is from the CT scan, and you can always see there's decrease of like density, or like more like lucency, hypodensity, infection at the mirror edema, which is hypointense on T1, and then on contrast there's show a hyperintensity or like enhancement. And here's another X-ray that demonstrates the lytic destructive patterns. And here's another MR, the hyperintensity, and then the increased intensity one. So back here. Oh, I'm sorry. So this is a neutrophil, and after neutrophil, macrophages comes and creating like some sort of boundaries, like surrounding these basils, and then the bacteria, and then creating like some sort of a center, or like an island of pus, something like that. Here's an island of pus, and this is because this is an fascial plate. The pus cannot go anywhere, so they cannot cross that. So they have to spread in another area and not going towards the fascial or epiphyseal one. So here's, I want to show you about this structure. If you still remember in med school, what's so called this is a Harvesian canal and a Foxman canal. What are they? This is osteon. Like each of this cortical bone is composed of this osteon, and every osteon has this Harvesian canal. And inside the Harvesian canal, there's this vascularity. And can you imagine like lots of osteon being together, clumps up together, and every Harvesian canal and the nutrient and this vascularity inside of it connected through this Volkmann's canal. So can you imagine here, if I put it mini in here, and there's this from supplying from the inside branches, the ascending branches, and then they going to the cortical branches, and here's from the periosteal artery connection branches. So it connects from the inside and the outside. Okay, so the periosteal artery only like supplying the 1/3 of the outer cortex, and the inside is 2/3 about. And yeah, it's just like that, so it can't go up. That's why it's creating a periosteal reaction. Why? Because there's this pus coming inside from this vascularity here, the small little one here I drew, and then that's why it can goes out to the periosteum, or even goes into the endosteum, because there's a connection in both of them. So of course the pus here can create what's so called like an image in X-ray, and lifting the periosteal, and also making the other white blood cell and inflammatory markers goes there, which going to make an appearance like a periosteal reaction, some things like that. But this is going to lift it, and so it's just the pus always goes there, and creating like this, pushing forward the, I'm sorry, my phone, pushing forward the periosteum, and then that's why it's lifted. So it also goes to endosteum and going to make this appearance of lifted periosteum. So when it lifted and it's always accumulating, what it causing is like stretching of these arteries, and it cut off. It's basically, if you stretch the artery because of there's a mass effect there, so the artery cuts off here. So this is another, the pus going inside here. If you can imagine, there's anything that clogging inside your vascular or your artery, what will it be causing? Like, it's ischemia, of course. It's ischemia. So there's ischemia and bone death after all. What's going to what is called when there's a bone death? We call it sequestrum. So here's why sequestrum is formed. So after chronic inflammation, this chronic inflammation produces a blah 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 cytokine and all of that. The dead bone, the chronic inflammation, both trigger the osteoblast formation and new bone formation in periosteum and also in endosteum, because both side is involved. And the new bone formation cover the both like this, because it's like, okay, I have to be able to cover this so the pus won't get anywhere with the bone formation. And here as well. Yeah. So that's why we call this involucrum, the new bone formation in the periosteum. And sometimes if you are lucky enough to get this sign of a chronic osteomyelitis with bone within bone appearance, because there's like sandwiches area of bone outside and the inside, because there's like two new bone formation because of very much pus covering new bone formation there. So I'm just gonna add something here. When the artery is cut off, there is like literally no blood supply there, so antibiotics that administers cannot reach that region as well. So you have to just surgically remove the dead bone. Yeah, that's the important thing to not miss. Yeah, and here it is, and this is from the MR, and this is, I took it from Radiopedia. Thanks to Radiopedia, because they are so sourceful and so educative. I love them. Okay, so this is a question that you can see. There's this hypo intense on MR, and yeah, the dead bone obviously, and the involucrum here, like this super thick. Okay, the cloaca, I'll explain later. You know what cloaca is, but why is it formed? This is from X-ray, the involucrum, the density, that's some sort of like more dense bone, and the dead bone here. And this is a cloaca from ENFAS projection. Here's another MR. There's this, you can see there's this sequestrum and this kind of involucrum. Okay, here's another, this is a dead bone. This is obviously a cloaca. It's an like calcified something. Okay, this is how cloaca from. Can you see that? I repeat that here. Why this happen? Because the pus is just trying to go out, but can't. So, you know, the pus and the bacteria itself is a like consists of like these destructive enzymes that can just, you know, like crunching the newborn formation. Crunch, 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 and make a way out of it so that it can release its tension and just pour more. So this is cloaca there, the one that I showed you. Here's another example of an axial view for cloaca. This X-ray, can you see that? And okay, another one. This is skin. Basically, I just draw it like it's skin. Yeah, skin layer. So after it just go inside, crunching the bone, creating cloaca, it can also crunching the outside layer and even crunching. Okay, I'm just going to repeat that. Crunching again towards this, towards the skin, destructive the skin layers and make opening in the skin tissue, and it's called the sinus tract. Why is it important? Because it can trigger cancer, like this. Go into the skin, like here. It's like the skin. There's the sequestrum there, the hypointense region, and then there's this the pus going into the skin, the surface of the skin. It's called sinus tract. And there's the cloaca and sinus tract as well. Okay, here, this is all the summarize. Okay, so you can see there's the dead bone there, increased density, which means it's in fulcrum. There is this a periosteal reaction here and there, and there is this defect that you're going to call it cloaca, but the sinus tract you can hardly see in X-ray. There's a lytic destructive pattern here, but this is not in a kid, so it can appear anywhere. But why I'm focusing on a kid, like children age more than 1 year old, yeah, because it specifies like the osteomyelitis kind of like more often in a metaphyseal region, and this hairpin situation, it's helping us to understand the basic anatomy and the basic science as well. So but you can always just implement this to other types of osteomyelitis, except like I'm going to make another video about the Brody abscess, so this acute phase, why it can be formed like that and not like this. So just keep on waiting. So this is chronic situation, but that's why you hardly can't see the acute osteomyelitis like below 7 days, because it's only a subtle reaction, that it's only a marrow edema, and if it's not that obvious edema, you can't see it on just basic x-ray. You need like at least CT scan or like MR is the best imaging tools for looking the marrow edema. So yeah, you can always repeat it like after 1 week to see there's and compare it if there is a decrease opacity there, like increase of lucency in distinct margin of the metaphyseal region, or if it's not the metaphyseal hematogenous in kids spread, you can always like compare it after 1 week or so, before and after, if there's any decrease in lucency, lytic destructive pattern, perhaps there is an acute osteomyelitis even then before the 7 days, because it's just, you can hardly see that. So this is my last slide. So yeah, I hope you guys like it, and please support me to just produce more videos if you like it. And if there's some mistake of typos, I'm sorry there, but yeah, thank you for watching.